Alright, so coming over the new material now, we're going on to the collision system first. Firstly, we're going to go into the collision system collidables. So inside of the collidable itself, we're going to the game object, collidable. In here, the user is able to choose between the three current types of collision volumes. We have the B-sphere, which was from last quarter, the AABB, and OBB, which were added into this quarter. So that is done over here at the bottom right here where you have this get collision volume. You have the switch where you can choose between the B-sphere, the ABB, and the OBB. And then up here you have each collidable has a default B-sphere and it's computing the data for the default B-sphere. So you're passing in the collision volume and you're also computing the data for that collidable's particular collision volume. Now it may be a B-sphere, it may be an ABB or an OBB, but each one has a default B-sphere which is relevant to the group AABB, and then that's where the tier testing comes in. The various collision tier testing comes in. Next is to go, make sure that the collidables does not have a graphics object. So there is no graphics object. It's cleared. No graphics object whatsoever. Then you have your main methods, your initialize, data update, and your accessors. That's all in here. So you have your registrations, deregistration, submitting the collision deregistration, and getting the collision volume, getting the default B-sphere, and getting the collision volume type. Now we'll go into the addition of the new collision volume. So the new collision volumes that were added in, or let me go over the changes that are done for the collision volume B-sphere first, because there are some changes that were done. Because now inside here of the compute data, it is now this is being used now for the default B-sphere, this particular compute data. This one is no longer being used. And then it still has these intersections checks with the collision volume B-sphere, this one right here. And then you have all your getters and setters, max ABB sphere, ABB sphere center, and look at the ABB radius. The intersect accept, intersect visits for all the different types of collision volumes. So you have the intersect accept and the intersect visit between a B-sphere and a visit between the ABB and the OBB. Next, we go over to the collision volume ABB. It is derived from a collision volume base from the collision volume base class. Next, we're going to go over these. This is all its information. It has the various getters for getting the max ABB, getting the center, the diagonal, setting the min and the max, setting the world, getting the scale squared, getting the world, and computing. This computing terrain ABB is specifically for the terrain. So inside of this compute data, when you're computing the min and the max, you have to continuously update the min and the maxes for the OBB or the ABB, excuse me. So that's where this the math right here is computing for the min and the maxes for the ABB. And as I said, this one is being used inside of the terrain. Next, we go over to the collision volume OBB. This is the collision volume. OBB has the accept visit using the visitor pattern, same as with all the other collision volumes, which was a new addition for this quarter as well. And here inside of the collision volume OBB, this is the compute data passing in the model and the constant matrix reference. The getters and the intersect and visit. For myself, I have these two collidable groups. I have a collidable group collection for the collidable group and a vector for collidable group vector for the collision volume ABBs. That's where I have these collections, and inside of the set collision pair and the set collision self, that's where it's passing in that pair for the collision volume collidable group, and the collision volume AABB for that group. Up here is where the setting for the group ID. So every time a collidable group is created, a collision volume AABB is created for that particular index for that group. And then down here inside of the process collision, this is where I'm iterating through sorry, microphone had died as I was speaking. So it's up this right here inside of my process collisions, where I'm getting an iterator for the collision group, and I'm going through for the collection group. I am getting the min and the maxes for each particular collision, for each particular item inside of that collidable group, and I am updating the min and the maxes for the collision AABB volume of that collision group inside of my process collision here. All right. Next is going through the collision tests. So I'll be creating a separate video for that. So this is just covering for the collision volumes, AABB, and what is going on inside of the collision manager.